Hey yo, mm, I'm looking at my shit on YouTube. I'm like, damn, what's really going on? I don't know what's going on, but it is what it is. It is what the fuck it is. And shout out to the chat, shout out to the chat. I don't got no music playing behind me. I don't have no music. Oh man, damn, there's some bullshit right here. See, when I'm looking at YouTube, I'm looking at YouTube like the way I used to look at my younger life. At my younger life. Way before I met Birdman. Way before I met Birdman. Way before I met anybody on YouTube. I'm looking at my life like the way it was. Way before I started doing YouTube videos. Way before I started doing YouTube videos. I started doing YouTube videos in 2017. I started doing videos in 2003. Remember the pandemic came out? It was me and one of my other homeboys that was out there. He's from Chicago. And I remember him very distinctly, very clearly. And he said, Arabia, I'm not putting that mask on, nothing like that. He didn't do nothing. He didn't do a goddamn thing. One thing he had to do was sit in the rafters and say, well, it is what it is. And I kept telling him, look, do what you need to do. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about nobody. Don't worry about nobody. We're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. And that's what I kept saying. That's what I kept saying. And that's what I kept saying. That's what I kept saying. It's an echo. It is what it is. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. It is what it is. 914, which is County, New York. We are in the motherfucking house. And we're going to be here for a little bit. We're going to be here for a little bit. But we're not going to be here for people to drop shot us, people to disrespect us. We're not going to be here for that. We're not going to be here for that. I'm not going to be here for that. Now y'all going to be here for that. Mathematics. A shout out to Mathematics for being in my chat. Thanks, Mathematics, for being in my fucking chat. Mathematics. Do you remember me being on YouTube that long? Do you remember me in 2017 all the way to now? Do you remember me being here? Because I remember me being here. I remember you being here. You know why you was here? Because you my cousin. You are my family. You are my fucking family. You are my fucking family. You and Chris. You and Chris and the other cousins I met in 2003 when I was 30 years old. We was all sitting in different chairs in my grandmother's house. My grandmother's house, it is what it is. But my grandmother is having a birthday today. Shout out to her. Shout out to her. It is what the fuck it is. Thank you, Mathematics, for coming in. Chris told you to come in because we looking for the trolls. We looking for the trolls. I don't give a fuck. It is what it is. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. It is what it is. 914 Westchester County, New York. We are in the motherfucking house. Yonkers, New York. We're in the house. Mount Vernon, New York. We're in the motherfucking house. New Rochelle, New York. We in the motherfucking house. Hartsdale, Bronxville, Scarsville, White Plains, Peekskill, Portchester. Shout out to the chat. Hartsdale. Whatever. Wherever we was at. We are here. We are here and we're not gonna stop being here. We're not gonna stop being here. We're not gonna stop being who we are. How can we stop being who we are? Mathematics, you're in the chat. You're in the chat. I don't know where my moderator is at, but Mathematics is in the motherfucking chat. And if wherever Mathematics is at, my other cousin gonna come in and say what they gotta say. Let me tell you something real quick. A shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Mathematics, thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in, my cousin, my family. We've been knowing each other for how long? 2003? 2003. That's when I met this man. This man ain't know me from a can of paint. You know why he didn't know me? Because I went to fucking foster kid and got adopted by a bunch of motherfuckers and ain't need us that had us in their fucking house. Geechee motherfuckers. According to them, they were Geechees. They were fucking Geechees. I don't got nothing against the Geechee Gula nation, but don't talk about me or my family or nothing else, because I don't claim Geechee. My biological mother is fucking Geechee. Piece of shit motherfucker. No name, drop shot, or brand bitch. A drag nasty motherfucker. Fuck her. Fuck her. Know what I'm claiming? What my great grandmother was. Great grandma Barbosa, which was Bertha Barbosa, aka Bertha Epps. She was a Mohawk Indian. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. And she married who? Who the fuck she married? Great grandfather Barbosa. Barbosa. Shout out to the chat. It is what it is. 914 Westchester County, New York will never, ever be disrespected again. Shout out to the chat. I don't know who's live right now. Everybody that subscribed to my page will catch the playback. They will catch the fucking playback. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Mathematics, you are my cousin. You are my cousin. I met you in 2003. I was 30 years old then. I'm 50 right now. We at the same age. I'm from New York. You from Boston. Two different states, two different cities. Same accent. Everything. It is what it is. A shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Yep. It is what it is. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. It is what the fuck it is. Now shout out to the chat. Mathematics, can you please explain to me why there's so much haterism on YouTube? On YouTube. Shout out to the chat. It's not so much all the YouTube people on YouTube. It's only a few YouTube creators. Shout out to the chat. Yo, mathematics, we going against, right now, I'm going against one bitch on YouTube. That's the Jabba the Hutt over there. AKA Brooklyn Lady Ellie, AKA Brooklyn Moonchild. That bitch is a racist. And you know she's a racist. You know she's a fucking racist. It is what it is. I'm so sick of her. I'm so sick of this bitch. I'm sick of her. Every time I see her, every time she do a video about me, it's something. And guess what she called me the other Monday day. Called me all kinds of black bitches. Black bitches. That's what she called the other black bitches, right? Cause that white woman don't like no black women. She don't like no black woman. That the only woman on YouTube trying to divide black women against each other. We were expecting from other black people, but that white woman is a racist. She's a racist. Now shout out to the chat. Hello, Crystal. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, mathematics is my cousin. We've been knowing each other since 2003. Yeah, I met him when I was 30 years old. A shout out to the chat. He's still standing with me. Still standing with me. He come to my house. My other cousin come to my house, Chris. It is what it is. A shout out to the chat. It is what it is. I'm not playing no games. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. It is. It don't make no sense why there's one white woman is coming for me. Why there's one white woman is coming for me. And nobody says that. Nobody says anything about this white woman. Nobody says anything about her. Nobody says anything. This white woman been stalking me for 8 months, maybe 9 months now. Almost a whole fucking year. How you gonna do all these videos about me and not be obsessed with me? And you know what? I don't mean no harm. I think this woman is in love with me. I think she's in love with me. And she's mad. She's mad at certain situations on YouTube. And she don't want no other black people to be in love with me. She don't want no other black people to support my page. They're gonna come in regardless. It is what it is. And shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Yeah. Brooklyn Lady Ellie is a Cracker Barrel cracker. I don't give a fuck what nobody said. Crystal, you alright. You alright, me. But Crystal, unfortunately for you, you share the same first name as my former sister-in-law. And I'm gonna tell you something. I used to live with Sergeant Crystal Reagan. And you know what she told me? When I left at our house, she said, "Don't worry about nobody. Don't support nobody. Don't love nobody. Don't trust nobody. Do for you, Arabia Barbosa. Do for you." Cause when I left at her house and I went to Greenville, South Carolina, I was making mad money. I used to send the money to her. You know what she used to do? Send the money right fucking back to my house. Yep. She used to send it back. She never accepted those money. But I remember there was one particular day, her and my brother, Michael, they were still married. They were still married at that time. I had made a copy of my key for that fucking apartment. When I wasn't there, they couldn't get in. That's what they did. Crystal came to my house. She said, "Look, Arabia, I know you going to go to New York. I know you getting ready to leave. I know you're going to go back to your people. Arabia, don't forget about me. Arabia Barbosa, please do not forget about me." I did not forget about that woman. Not one day. But every time I used to send money to her, she'd send the money back. Send the money back. Send the money back. How many women you know you can send $100 to, $50 to, $200 to, and they'll send the money back? And when they send the money back, they give you a message, and they will call you and say, "Don't worry about me. I got me. I got me." When I was sending that money to her, I didn't know. A couple of years later, she's going to be killed off by a drop shot, no name, off brand bitch. This is what some of these niggas are from South Carolina. The drop shot, no name, off brand, drag nasty bitches. They're not even men. They're bitches with dicks. So what am I? A bitch without a dick? Oh, okay. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Yep. It is what it is. It is what it is. And the only thing I can say, it is what it is. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Yep. Shout out to the chat. Because me personally, I'm thinking I'm sending the money back home to her and her children, and she's sending the money back. Now, at that time, I did not know she was divorced from my brother and got married to that dumbass nigga. And how you marry a clown that kill you? How you marry a clown and you're a veteran? How you marry somebody? But one thing I learned about Sergeant Crystal Reagan, she was always thirsty for love. Love in the wrong places. Love in the wrong place. That's why I shout out. That's why I shout out Sister T. Because Sister T talks about it on her panel. She talks about it on her channel. She talks about these different issues. Nobody else talks about it. Brown skin lady, she might do a video. It's once in a while. Once in a while. And it ain't like Sister T. Sister T do those videos consistently. Consistently. And she said, to the whole world. Young men, young women, look out for yourselves. Take care of yourself. We used to see Sister T out here servicing the homeless people. I don't give a fuck what she gave him in a fucking money envelope. It's the words she spoke to them. The words. The questions she asked. That's what a real woman does. They don't sit on YouTube and what's going on with no. When I went to that laundromat this morning, and that man told me what he told me about those machines, and we talked a little bit further. He talked about the other businesses going on in that laundromat. They're getting money for the homeless people. They have housed plenty of homeless people. Now they got new clients coming in. New clients. When he saw me this morning, he said, I know Sister Arabia Barbosa gonna do something about this bullshit. Not today. I seen them homeless people sitting out there, sleeping out there. When I go to work in the morning, they sleeping out there. They talking shit about me when I'm walking past. Nah, I'm not gonna service those homeless people. Not. Because I used to be there. I used to be homeless. Me and Birdman was homeless together. Birdman didn't have to be homeless. Birdman had a house. Birdman used to disappear. Y'all don't know nothing about that. But he won't talk shit about me. When I saw him yesterday, I told him, don't ask me for no fucking money. You know, he got an attitude like a little bitch. He got an attitude like he was a bitch. I ain't slept with Birdman in months. I don't give a fuck about Birdman. I don't give a fuck about him. I don't give a fuck about his fucking family. I don't give a fuck about the nephew that died. Baby Robert and Birdman family. Oh, I know all about that nigga. That nigga was never supposed to have been bailed out of fucking jail. He had a murder charge on his head. He had a gun charge on his fucking head. How the fuck he got bailed out of fucking jail? And I was on a charge years ago. Couldn't even get out of jail. I had to sit there for 9 months, almost a whole fucking year. And when I got out, I didn't have no fucking support. Nobody came and helped me. Nobody rescued me. I had to do it on my fucking own. None of my cousins came in. So I don't give a fuck what my cousins talking about on fucking YouTube. But they talking about. They ain't pay no money to my fucking house or my fucking welfare. Nobody paid. Oh, shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Mathematics, you know I'm talking about you. You know I'm talking about you. Mathematics. Oh, it is what it is. Oh, okay. It is what it is. I'm right about what I'm saying. But none of y'all supported me when I was homeless or in jail or in mental hospitals. None of y'all supported me. None of y'all. Now shout out to the chat. Mathematics, I don't mean no harm. I don't mean no harm to my other cousin. But y'all never supported me. I met y'all in 2003. What the fuck is going on now? The fuck is going on now, niggas? Y'all can't even talk about that. That you won't call me behind the fucking scenes. A shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. It is what it is. I'm gonna be me. I'm Arabia Barbosa. Arabia. According to my homegirl, Arabia. Arabia Barbosa. Shout out to the chat. I'm gonna end this video. I'm gonna close it out. Thank you, Crystal, for coming in. Thank everyone for coming in. Thank everyone for coming in. I got a bunch of ghost watchers. Ain't nobody hit the link. Okay, let me drop the link. 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 So somebody can come in and talk your shit. You know, it is what it is. There we go. There we go. We doing it. We doing it. Crystal, thank you for coming in. You always come in. You always come. But Crystal, do not feel sorry for me. Do not do that. I know what the fuck I'm doing. And I be cursing and yelling and all this other bullshit. And people gonna kick me off their panels before. And it is what it is. That's the truth. That's the truth. When me and the death coach we used to go back and forth. We used to go back and forth. Hey DL, thank you, baby. That's one of my moderators. Shout out to her. Shout out to her. Yeah. I ain't gonna be here that long. But I just want mathematics to know, since he is my cousin and Chris is my cousin. I got two cousins on this app looking at everybody. And they come to me like, baby, you supposed to help us. Nah, I'm not supposed to help y'all. Y'all supposed to help me. Shout out to the chat. It's not saying that they're not helping me. They talk shit to everybody. And I don't find out until the next day. Or when I'm sending the person chat, these niggas talking shit. God damn, son of a bitch. Talk shit. Talk shit in my real life. Talk shit in my real life. Because I went against Birdman. Last day I was at my job. I went against Birdman yesterday. Where were any of you niggas? Where were any of you niggas? And I called y'all niggas and y'all didn't come. Y'all didn't come. So it is what it is. A shout out to the chat. Y'all might have been busy with your own life. You might have been on your own job. I know mathematics go to work. I know he go to work all the time. 4:30 all the way into the next day. Almost. He work himself too much. Chris, he work, but he don't work like the way me and mathematics do. He don't. A shout out to the chat. I met both of these men when I went to New York, 2003. Mathematics is in Boston. Chris is right down here in South Carolina. A shout out to the chat. It is what it is. Well, I'm glad to see people in the chat enjoying themselves. Y'all, I'm gonna post a video about me eating a sandwich in a little bit because I'm hungry. I'm hungry, but thank God I'm losing weight. I'm losing weight. I ain't gaining. I went to the store earlier and they was like, Rabia, you losing weight. I said, well, I don't give a fuck. Let's get these items up here. $20, $30, $40, $10. I don't give a fuck what it is. And guess what? When I want to buy a beer right there, they don't even check my ID. Only certain bitches on that job check the fucking ID, and I'm gonna get her in check in a few more days. She got 3 days before I get her ass in check and get her fired. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. The fuck out of here with that bullshit. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Yeah, on Sunday, it was me and Lonnie. We was talking, and we were talking so good. And that Jabba the Hutt bitch, Brooklyn Lady Ellie, Brooklyn Moonshot, she don't want nobody. She don't want none of the black people to get along with each other. She want to build a divide. That's what she does. That's what she does. That's what the fuck that bitch does. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. It is what it is. I'm trying to find a major moderator for my channel before I really get dark. Before I really get dark. But the main manager moderator will know what cash has to come in, who's saying this and that chat, which channel they come. Yeah. I need a manager moderator. I got my moderators. They very good. They very awesome. But sometimes I think people in the chat try to discourage them or make them feel bad. You ain't got to feel bad from being over here with me. All you got to do is give me your Cash App information and pay you off and give you something. Shout out to the chat. That's what I do for my moderator. My moderators that want something, go ahead. Get it. Get it. While you can. While I'm breathing. That Birdman, he gonna make sure I ain't breathing no more. He threatened to bust out these windows in the fucking apartment. He threatened to bust in the door. I want him to bust in the door. I want him to break open the windows so I can go over there and shoot his black ass. I don't need to shoot nobody. I just need to shoot my mouth. And my mouth is good enough. If I see my windows busted out, I already know to call the landlord, call the police, blah, blah, blah. Call 911 first and then call the landlord. Shout out to the chat. See, in New York, we do this stuff different. We do stuff different. So it is what it is. Shout out to the chat. Thank everyone for coming over. Thank everyone for coming over. But, I'm going to close this out because I know other people going live right now. See, that's what they do. They see I'm live. Now they want to go live. What the fuck they going live for? They going live to talk some bullshit. Talk about taxes. Talk about taking care of your children. Talk about daycare. We got a video on YouTube right now talking about free daycare. And it got one little girl on a mic talking about touch your knees, touch your knee. Oh, Lord. And not saying nothing wrong. Maybe she been taught that by her mama and the grandma. Because, some of these grandmothers ain't shit. And I don't mean no harm. My grandmother, even though I've been knowing her for years and years, shout out to her, shout out to her. When I was in the foster care system, and we used to go see my grandmother once a month. Once a month. And when I got older, I was like, I need to see my grandmother every weekend. And they're like, you can't see her every weekend because you already got adopted off. No! I need to see my grandmother every fucking weekend. Every fucking weekend. Well, why don't you go live with your grandma? You know what I used to do? I used to fight. I used to break everything in that fucking house. I hated the whole fucking family that adopted me and my brother. Adopted me and my brother for what? And guess what happened? Guess what happened? That woman that treated us like we was shit. That's what my brother did. He the only one came over there and took care of her until the day she fucking died. The day she fucking died. That's why you don't mistreat children. But I don't mean to harm. Those old black women, those old angry black women always support the male children. They don't support the female. They want to support the male children. Let me tell you something. I do believe when I was growing up in that house, my brother, even though my adoptive father was living in the house, she couldn't, the woman that raised me, she couldn't do anything with him anymore. I believe she thought my brother was her spiritual husband, emotional husband, mental husband. She really wanted my brother to be her fucking husband. When I was a young girl, 9 years old, and my adoptive father, nephew, started touching her, he knew. He knew. Brooklyn Lady Ellie, Brooklyn Moonchild put out a bunch of misinformation in her video talking about my father passed me to his nephew. No, no, no. My adopted father never touched me. It was his nephew, Junior. That's what we used to call it, Junior. Junior's from Brooklyn, New York. A shout out to the chat. And we need to talk about this child abuse, sexual shit that's going on in the world. You know why? Know why? I can't tell you why. One thing I can say, that man said, don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody I was sexually abused. You know why he don't want nobody to know? Because he got children and grandchildren now. That's why he don't want nobody to know. That's why. But he has always chastised me about what the fuck I did. Motherfucker, I took care of you when you were fucking in a house. Remember? You was a barber, you were a licensed barber. And I went out there in the world and I paid for my rent in that house. I paid for your rent in that fucking house. Nigga, don't ever get it twisted. Don't ever get it twisted. You owe me more than anybody else on this app owe me. You owe me. You owe me the whole estate. That's where you owe me from. You know why? You know why? Because she knew that adoptive mother knew you was gonna go back into that house and you gonna take care of until the end of her fucking days. I didn't give a fuck about that bitch. I wanted her to go into a nursing home. Nursing home, the state would have took care of it. The state would have took care of her black ass until she got out of fucking here. She didn't she didn't suffer like our father suffered. She didn't suffer like our aunt suffered from cancer, breast cancer. My my father died from lung cancer. You know how painful that is? When they do the operation on you, you know how painful it is if you come into readmission. That's why I check my breasts every year. I check my everything every year. If something ain't going right, I'll go back to my primary or shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. It is what it is. Ain't nobody in here but two people. Two ghost watchers. But everybody was in here earlier. A shout out to the chat. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm getting ready to unsubscribe from some of these YouTube creators. They get a bunch of notifications coming out. It don't make no goddamn sense. Don't make no goddamn sense. But I want a real question to be answered by brown skinned lady since she's a social worker. Since she's a social worker, I'm doing this. I'm doing this question for brown skinned lady, Lovelace, and Kelly G. Y'all, the social workers on YouTube. What the fuck is wrong with me, Arabia Barbosa? Number 4, Westchester County, New York. We want to know exactly the fuck is going on. Thank you, Crystal, for coming in. Thank you for coming in. Now, shout out to the chat. I want the 3 social workers, brown skinned lady, Lovelace, and Kelly G, to answer my questions. What the fuck is wrong with Arabia Barbosa? How that sexual abuse happened all them years in that fucking house? Nobody reported it. You know why they didn't report it? Because they knew their license would have been revoked. And they knew they wouldn't have went to jail and everybody would have begun separated. And they told me, said, Arabia, if you tell this, you and your brother will be separated forever. We adults now. We separated. We are separated. Now shout to the chat. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. I was never afraid. When I went on the streets as a young runaway, 9 years old, I used to run away from home. Stay away 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 3 months. Nobody ever reported me. Why you think that was? When I wanted to drop out of school, they couldn't let me drop out of school. Why you think that was, brown skinned lady? Lovelace, Kelly G, the social workers on YouTube. Shout out to the chat. They ain't gonna never answer them fucking questions. They ain't gonna never answer them fucking questions. Now shout out to the chat. I'm not mad with them. I'm just letting them know the social work you're doing is overworked. overworked and underpaid. Now shout out to the chat. You know why? You know why I started taking bribes from my job? Because I knew my job didn't pay much when I was in New York. I took bribes. And I was not no high class sedity motherfucker. I was just working somewhere I needed to work at that time. And all the women at that particular place, they didn't want me to get with that one woman. They already knew that woman was a plant. They already knew that woman was trying to destroy me. So baby, why you ain't come from one of us? I don't know y'all. I didn't know y'all. I didn't know her. I just know what she looked like. And that's what I did. She got me fired. And 2 weeks later, they got her fired. And the same woman that got me fired from my job, we had to live next door together in Yonkers, New York. Shout out to Yonkers, New York. We had to do that. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. And she said, Arabia, I know you don't like me no more because I got you fired from your job. I said, why'd you do that? You didn't have to do that. And she was mad with me. Why you mad with me? And she saw at the end of the day, money don't mean nothing. Money can get cut. Money can get cut short. She didn't see that until she moved next door to me. And it was 1 year the snow came in. We had to work together. She knocked on the door. I came down the stairs. We saw each other. I used to sleep with this woman. Body fucker. Sucker pussy. It didn't matter until it really mattered. I'm thinking about her. She's thinking about me right now. When I go to New York, I'm going to look her up. I'm going to look her up. And she might do right by me. I don't know. It is what it is. Shout out to the chat. I'm out of here. Thank you for Crystal for coming in. Thank you, DL, for coming in. Thank everyone for coming in. Mathematics, thank you for coming in. Mathematics, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I'm out of here.